guys, so this is it. We're back for another Friday Night Forex and Chill, another crypto session, and we are going to be doing a book giveaway. So I have a couple copies of this book in hand. Our gracious host, Grant, when he takes over tonight, he's got a link he can drop for you guys to sign up for the giveaway. The author of the book and his brother, Gabe and Christian, they're on here tonight. They're going to tell us all about the book, how we can all invest in the cryptocurrency world, and some of their proven strategies. You know, these guys, you know, when you study something, become a master of it, it's only fair that you go to the next step and teach it to the world, right? So they have a Telegram chat that you guys can become a part of. They got the link to buy their book. We're giving away a couple of the books. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Grant, and mute myself out. Guys, thank you once again for joining us. We won't be on next week because it's Thanksgiving. Your family comes first. You know, my motto is faith, family, Forex. All right. So next week, spend some time with your family. The holidays are coming up. And that's it for me. Thank you for jumping on. I'm getting out of the way. Guys, you take it over. The floor is all yours, Grant.
Thank you so much, Gigi. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Gabe and Christian. How are you doing?
We're doing awesome. Great. Thanks so much for having us on.
Oh, yeah. My pleasure. I'm so happy to have you guys back. If anyone remembers, last time we had Gabe on, it was toward the end of October, about a month ago. And a little bit of a background that we have, Gabe is 23 years old, has already retired himself to become a full-time trader. So he's an accomplished Forex trader and now specializes in everything Bitcoin. Gabe and Christian, can you tell us a couple of more things about you so we have a better background idea of what's going on?
Yeah, Gabe, I'll let you kick it off. Go for it.
Okay. Yeah, so pretty much just like what Grant said there. Yeah, I'm 23. Been trading for a little over 2 years now. And yeah, did everything, in Forex, trading the commodities, gold, silver, even, dabble a little bit in the USDZR. Celeste had some, she does all the exotic pairs like that too. So I kind of know exactly, kind of how those kind of pairs move. So Bitcoin's kind of like a big exotic pair, you might say. So it's something to be afraid about. If you've ever traded, anything that moves, even gold, anything moves like gold, it's kind of Bitcoin's kind of the same thing in my view. Just another pair that's moves a lot, but it's nothing to be afraid of once you if you know what to look for in trading, nothing should scare you, and it's actually a pretty cool asset that the opportunities we have to mess with it and to do more with it is only the beginning. So pretty much, yeah, I've just been focusing on Bitcoin the last pretty much the last several months, and quite close to a year now, it seems like, as far as actually trading it. And it's been a roller coaster, that's for sure, pun intended. And it's been good. Learned a lot. It's cryptocurrency is such a new thing that even though it's been around, Bitcoin itself been around for 10 years. Just the whole class itself with altcoins and blockchain and all that too. It's just such a new space that's just really cool to have been in it. So I want to definitely share with you guys and Christian too what we have learned and what we're still learning. And yeah, it's pretty much actually one more thing. Christian is my obviously he's my brother, but I want to let you guys know Christian was the one who originally got me into trading and IML, and like learning from like Stevenson Lindor and all those guys. So Christian was kind of the main guy that got me hooked on this trading thing and being able to not have to work like a 9-to-5 job and be able to pretty much trade on your own and kind of set yourself free financially. So it's been an awesome thing, and yeah, take it away, Christian.
All right, awesome. Well, thanks so much, Gabe. I appreciate that. I want to go ahead and thank Gigi and Grant again for having us on. I really do appreciate it. And hopefully we can impart some amazing knowledge for you guys that's useful. And by no means, we are not experts in this space, but we definitely have learned some cool things and done very well with it in our own respective right. And so, yeah, I'll just tell you that my background, just briefly here, is in internet marketing, and been in that space pretty much for almost 10 years now, actually, for quite some time. My good buddy is Russell Brunson. I do a lot of work with him. He's a guy that started the company called ClickFunnels, allowing you to build these really amazing online sales funnels using a drag and drop online platform. It's super awesome. But anyway, that's kind of my background. But I got into cryptocurrency actually before trading Forex. And that happened back in 2015. I kind of came into it by accident. I've heard about Bitcoin and crypto, and I had for many, many years. But I had a very good friend and somebody who I respected a great deal in the technology world who said, hey, that's just fake internet money. It's worthless. Pay it no mind. You know, he was just going through all of his reasons why he felt like it wasn't even worth his time. And so for that reason, I never looked into it. And somebody else who I've followed who also is very, very prominent in the technology world, who actually built one of the first internet companies for email marketing, and he sold it for $100 million. And he was saying, you know, Bitcoin's a giant bubble scam, just online crypto garbage. So again, don't waste your time and don't worry about it. So I was letting those individuals, a friend of mine and somebody else I was following, do my thinking for me. They were doing my thinking for me. And so I didn't even look at it. But in 2015, I had extra spending cash. I was doing really well in my business. And I just thought, you know what? Let me go and throw my money into investments that I number one, know about and care about, would like to support and see grow. And secondly, let me go find a little pile of investments I can throw some money into, just some chump change, you know, and see what happens. And so Bitcoin was one of those. So in 2015, at the very bottom of the bear market, Bitcoin was going for about $200. That's when I bought my first Bitcoin. And I didn't buy a ton, but I bought enough that if I had held it to 2017, it would have been very, very nice. I didn't hold it that long. I felt like, hey, the bubble already popped. I also did zero research at that point in time. I literally just went to Coinbase, created an account on there, did the KYC, you know, gave them my ID and all of that, went in there and just dropped them at the time, a credit card, because you could do it back then. I don't recommend, obviously, buying anything on credit card like this. But, and again, like I said, too, but we're not financial advisors. That's important to keep putting out there. But you know, obviously went ahead and put money in that I was able to risk and assume that it was just going to be dead forever. So anyway, jumped in there, started buying Bitcoin, and I just sat on it for maybe, I don't know, a couple of months. And I thought, you know what, this thing is not really moving very well, because it was just kind of going up and down a few $100s here and there between that range of like 200 to maybe 400. And so I went ahead and pulled out a good portion of my investment at about 350, somewhere in there. That's what Bitcoin was, 350. So bought it at 200, pulled out at 350. I'm like, yes, I'm a genius. Look at the profit I made. That was great. And whatever was left in the account, I mean, it wasn't significant. It wasn't quite a whole Bitcoin. And I went ahead and just left it at that and moved on. But in 2017, obviously, things really began to go crazy. And we saw Bitcoin and many other cryptocurrencies run up to just insane numbers. They went totally parabolic. Bitcoin hit 20K. We all know that. And that's when I was like, holy cow, I need to actually really invest time into studying this technology, understanding how it works, understanding the implications as to what this is going to do to the future of the internet, to finance, to all these different things. And so that's when I began to really dive deep. And obviously we continue to see a great run up during that period of time as I was diving deep and truly studying this technology. So anyway, I don't want to go too far into all of that backstory, but that's kind of my story thus far. And from there, I just went into it heavy, and I've been in it ever since. And the trading side comes into place about the same time period, 2017. I got into Forex through a friend of mine, Robert Johnson from Indiana, great guy. And he was like, hey, man, I'm doing really well learning from Stevenson Lindor and some folks at IML and figuring out how to do all this Forex stuff. And so got into that, and I got to tell you, I suck at Forex trading. I absolutely suck at it. My brother Gabe is awesome. I'm so grateful for him. It's so awesome to have him on board, because I can't handle it. You know, I over leverage by accident, or I end up getting there because of, you know, whatever, all the fear and greed that goes along the market. Right. And then I get too afraid when things go south, and it's just great because even though I lost a lot of money in Forex early on, as I was learning and figuring all this stuff out, it was cool to bring Gabe on board, because Gabe is so much more level-headed, and he got this stuff so quickly. He studied with Stevenson and many of these awesome traders like all of you guys out there, and he figured this stuff out. You know, he was cracking the code. And so he knows when you get in these trades, how they operate, how the markets move, whether it's Bitcoin or the Forex pairs. And so it's so great to have Gabe come along and go, don't freak out, stop going crazy, just chill, just hang on. And he'll walk me through how the patterns, always do these certain things, right? Anyway, and so he saved me a lot of money. And ultimately, I decided that I'm going to let him do the Forex trading. Although I do want to share with you guys a strategy that literally can take you to a 6-figure trading account if you don't already have one already, without being a good trader like me. And so I still do Forex trading, but I suck so bad. I know I had to know to create a strategy that works for me, that can still get me where I want to go with that. And not dominate all my time either. And so I'm going to share with you guys today. In fact, if it's possible, I don't know if Grant, you can share my screen here. I'm going to dive into a couple things if you don't mind.
Of course. Let me stop sharing so you can share your screen. I think
Perfect.
Everyone's excited to find out more.
Sweet. All right. Sounds good. I'm going to go ahead and jump on that right now. Let me know if you guys can see this. So I've got the book pulled up currently here. Is that coming through?
Yes.
Sweet. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up Microsoft Paint for a second here. Nothing glamorous, very simple, but, and my sketches are terrible too, by the way, but I want to map out for you a strategy that I think will work really well for almost anybody, as long as you have two of the most core principles, I believe, that matter for traders. And that is discipline and patience. And whether you're good or not, it is what it is, but I think those two are very, very key things. And so here is basically what this is. And I'll just cover this for a little bit and then move on to the crypto stuff, what I'm really doing with that and what's really going to be amazing for all of you out there in the next 2 years, because we are entering a new bull market here for crypto. And we're going to see the good cryptos succeed and do very, very well. We're going to see a lot of cryptos that are Bitcoin that are going to do 500, 1,000x returns, if not more. And so I'm going to get into all that. But first, for Forex, here's how I would trade Forex, and here's how I would do it. I actually am doing this for trading Bitcoin and trading other top cryptos, as well as other assets that have a kind of like a never-ending appreciation. And this is what it really works well for. It doesn't work super well for like Euro, USD, all the Forex currency pairs, but for cryptocurrency, for like, US 30 for the stock market, an asset that keeps appreciating, that keeps on over time, always going up and putting in new highs every decade, every couple of years. That's the kind of asset this works well for when trading it in Forex. So here's what I want to go ahead and show you guys. So here's how I trade Forex, and here's how I can do it successfully and get to a 6-figure. And if you want to keep it going, even a 7-figure trading account successfully, you treat it almost like a savings account. And I'm using my mouse, so bear with me here while I'm mapping this out, because it's going to come through pretty terrible, but it'll make sense. So you treat it almost like a long-term savings account, like a retirement plan almost, right? Where you don't look at trying to figure out calculate the right amount of leverage to be able to do very well, but at the same time, if your price point drops, if price goes up or down a few $100s, depending on if you're longing or shorting, then you're liquidated or you get stopped out, right? And so I'm going to go ahead and just go ahead and pull over a chart of Bitcoin here for a second as well too, so you all can see that. And let me get rid of some of this stuff here. So for example, what I mean here is that in my case, I'm so bad at trading, I'm not very good at figuring out, okay, if I enter on the 4-hour, for example, and I'm going for a buy on Bitcoin, how do I get in at the right time? Like, where's my entry point? I'm not very good at finding entry points. I'm not very good at getting out at the right time or any of this stuff, right? And so for me, I'm like, if I enter for a buy right here and I've got my leverage set to whatever it's going to be, whatever the standard rates are that we're taught here with the various teams we work with and whatnot, I'm just not very good at getting in this thing and making it work and having a tight stop loss and all of that. And so here's what I've done that works very, very well and is so idiot proof, so foolproof, which is awesome. Because again, for me, that's where I'm at, right? That you really can't lose. And obviously I don't want to say you never can't lose. There's always a way to lose. But my biggest fear is never being stopped out or losing my account, blowing my account anymore. My biggest fear now is my brokers get shut down, or they just their business, they close their doors, or we have a major economic event that happens that just thrashes a lot of companies, including these brokers. You have maybe a black swan event, let's say, in the markets. Will these brokers maintain their business? Will they stay in existence? Will they be able to pay out everybody like they're supposed to? That's my biggest concern. And that's a pretty great place to be versus, holy cow, am I going to get stopped out? And 4 hours or 2 days or whatever from this trade and lose a whole bunch of money, right? So here's how this works. So I look at things on a very, very macro level, like on the monthly chart, show me the monthly or the weekly, right? Let me be able to scroll out and see the entire chart and basically calculate my position size based off of that. And so here's what I do.
Hey, Christian,
I put in
real quick. Go ahead and clear
go ahead, buddy.
Just get rid of the old drawings because those are I don't know,
Distracting, sure.
It's easier to see. There you go. Okay, continue.
Cool. Yeah, feel free to hop in and feel free to ask questions, guys, whenever you want. Definitely love to help you out there. So what I do is I literally come in with the lowest possible leverage that I can. And I can't give you guys the exact numbers on this because every broker is different. So for example, you have brokers that are, like if you're trading Bitcoin, every dollar that Bitcoin moves may be worth 10 cents, right? Other brokers, it's worth a penny. So you need to calculate that and figure that out. But here's how I work this out. I want to be able to take an entry almost anywhere in this price, whether it's at 7,500, we had a massive drop obviously today, or 9,000, and basically be able to maintain my position even if Bitcoin drops down to $3,000. Now, how can I do that? My leverage is so low and my position size on my account, my actual, my balance on my account is high enough that you've got that right balance. And I don't use a stop loss, which again is not a good recommendation for a lot of people in Forex, but it works for me in this case, right? Because what I'll do is I'll go and I'll create a series of accounts, maybe every week, every month. This works for anybody. I want to make sure I explain this well so that everybody here is on board with this. Maybe every few weeks or every month or so, let's say that you have you're working a job still and you're trying to figure out how to get out of your 9 to 5, but for now, this is where you're at. You're happy enough, you're content enough doing that, but you want to be able to do some trading. Maybe you're not as good as you want to be. You don't want to spend all of your time doing this stuff. Well, again, that's all my world, right? And so if you can come in and set up a $100 account, this should work out just fine, depending on again what the leverage is for every single one of not the leverage, but the pip count or the amount of money you bring in for every dollar that Bitcoin moves. But if you can take enough spending cash and put it into these accounts and new accounts you set up with various brokers, then essentially here's how this works. If you can go in and do like let's say a 0.02, if you're looking at doing an account that gives you 1 cent for every dollar Bitcoin moves, then maybe your $100 account, you're going to enter lots between 0.02 and like maybe 0.03. I wouldn't even do actually beyond a 0.02 to be honest. I'm going to stick with 0.02. And that's again, assuming that every dollar Bitcoin goes up, you're looking at a penny that you're making, right? And you just keep on creating these accounts and putting in these small amounts of investments and entering your buys on Bitcoin. Again, you need to have an asset that's basically forever appreciating over time, over long periods of time. But essentially, if you keep creating these accounts and you get to the point where you have a total of 0.10 lots out of all of your accounts that are running for you on a buy, when you have an asset that appreciates so much like crypto does, like Bitcoin, and Bitcoin goes from, let's just go and pull this chart up here. I mean, I really believe Bitcoin will go to 6 figures at some point in time, probably in the next 2 years. So if Bitcoin goes to $100,000 from where it's at right now, or from maybe it drops $3,000 again, who knows? Maybe it even puts in a new low. I don't necessarily think that's going to happen, but it could, right? Okay, so if it goes to $100,000, all of your accounts, and you can keep on adding these on every time you've got free investment cash coming in from your paychecks or whatever you're doing. You can keep on setting these up and keep on entering longs, right? But you're just so patient, you're so disciplined to know that I'm not going to mess with any of these accounts. I'm going to set these and forget them, just like savings accounts. In fact, I'm going to assume every single one of these accounts basically has just lost money. So I'm only investing what I know I can afford to lose. That's very, very critical, right? So you put it in there, you set it and you forget it. And you don't have a stop loss. So essentially, with the various position size here and everything on these accounts, you could enter from, let's just say you entered all of these accounts at $9,100. Again, based on what we just mapped out here, the price could literally drop to like $3,000 and you'd still be in the trade. It could go even lower. You'd still be in the trade. So it's very, very easy to make these moves. And then if Bitcoin over time climbs to $100,000, yeah, it might take 2 years to get there. It might take even longer. If you're not entering on a bull market cycle, you might have to wait even more years before it gets there. But the point is, you just keep on compounding. It's like compounding interest, right? You create a new account, you put some more money in there. You use the basic knowledge you have in Forex of market structure to make the best possible entry you can. Now, I'm obviously exaggerating this to some degree because, for a lot of you guys, I mean, you're going to be like, this is so insanely easy. I can do this, in my sleep, right? And leverage even higher and do all this stuff and make it work well. But for me, no, I'm too terrible at it. So this works great for me. I'm willing to wait longer than everybody else. I'm willing to sit in a trade for 2.5 years. I'm good with that. I can sit for 4 years and let that trade roll. So if it goes to 100 grand, again, with the same mathematics here, you've got 0.10 total, let's say, in your account. That means when Bitcoin goes to 100K, you've got basically $10,000. Or close to it, right? Somewhere in there. And obviously, if you keep on stacking on accounts and you keep on making these entries when it's a good point in time to do so, then you're doing great, right? So you get to $10,000 and you cash out. Okay, now you've got $10,000 in your account you can go ahead and move forward with. And then you just basically go through the next level and you do the same thing going forward. So you go ahead and start building out new accounts. Maybe you take a little profit off the table from that. Now you've got maybe accounts that have 1K a piece in them, right? And you could probably do all this in one account. I don't know enough about all this stuff to really say that, one way or the other is best, but I just like to do it this way. I think it's easy. I like to even use different brokers because I don't trust any one broker to last forever. That's my biggest concern, again, is with this model. Is the broker going to stay in existence long enough for me to do this for the course of a decade? If I can keep on doing this compounding interest model here, for the course of 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, where's the account going to be at that point in time? And it's very, very key that obviously we don't have issues with brokers. So the next time around, like I said, next leg, you start entering 1K accounts, right? And putting in a higher lot size. You go ahead and up that. You maybe double your entries. You triple your entry or lot size. And so again, you let it sit, you let it run. It might take, I don't know, 2 to 4 years at that point in time going forward to go from $100,000 Bitcoin to, $300,000 Bitcoin, or 100K, maybe the peak for Bitcoin. For that cycle, we might have it then go ahead and reverse and do a massive retrace, which typically does retrace 85%. And I used to have a public YouTube channel where I did a lot of crypto videos for the public. And during this time, I was telling people when it was at like 8,000, 7,500, somewhere over here, back here, months before, that Bitcoin is likely going to drop again and tank down to 3K. And people were saying, you're crazy, you're nuts. That's like, you're just crazy, right? It's not going to happen. In your wildest dreams, that's not going to happen. And then it did. Not to toot my own horn, I'm just saying that these things do happen. I've been studying the market cycles of crypto very, very in depth. And so let's just say it pulls back. Whatever it does, doesn't matter. The point is that you then can go ahead with your second level of accounts and you can begin to compound that interest. And so you just keep on doing this and doing this. And as long as you're disciplined, you're careful, you're not over leveraging, you're allowing yourself the room to breathe all this stuff, and you're willing to wait. You're willing to wait and be patient longer than anybody else. It might take 10 years to get there, but you can have a multi-6-figure or even a 7-figure account through this model. So I don't want to spend any more time on this, but that's one thing I want to mention to you guys that I'm doing that's working very well for me. And, like I said, I'm not going to be the guy that gets rich overnight. I'm not going to get rich quick on my Forex trading immediately and be like, hey, look at this. I've got my 7-figure account. I did it in 3 years. It's going to take me a lot longer than that. But the point is I'll get there. And so it's better to have it be a near guarantee than have it be, one of the 95% of the people that don't make it at all, and just end up losing more money than they're putting into Forex. And so that's my own model. Anyway, I'm really about that. Gabe, any comments on that? Any thoughts? If you want to go ahead and also map out for everybody too, where you think Bitcoin's going and some of your trading ideas and strategies, that'd be awesome. Okay, that sounds good. Actually, yeah. So how about I'll do that before you go into your book and the rest of that thing there, so that way you have the rest of the time to cover your stuff. Cool, man. Sounds good. I'm going to go ahead and stop my screen sharing here. You can take it over on your side.
Thanks a lot, Christian. That was awesome. I see a lot of comments.
Yeah, Christian, this is sort of like a long-term investment account. I really like that idea. It's a great concept. One thing I want to say, I heard you mention the guy from ClickFunnels. I just saw him speak at the 10X Growth Conference. Very, very intelligent guy. Now I can see you seem to be very knowledgeable of how investments move. I'm very impressed. Thank you for coming on tonight.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. You bet.
All right. Well, awesome. Yeah, Christian, exactly what you said. I know, like, especially when I was beginning to starting to trade, like Christian mentioned, you'd be getting, liquidated and you get frustrated, and when things, how the market is moving, not, especially when you don't understand things in the beginning, that method works, really great. And I found out that the problem with, like, I found with trading too, the bigger you can make your liquidation price or your stop loss is the better. So meaning, like, you go, okay, not only am I only trading with money I'm okay with losing, or and if it went to zero, but also I go, okay, so by having my stop loss or having my liquidation price, a couple $1,000s away, especially with an asset like Bitcoin, it can go $500, move $1,000, and do a stop hunt or a fake out. Yeah, I'll be fine. I'm not worried because my liquidation price, say, might be $3,000, away, or even more than that if you're lucky. So that way, always, if you hop down to smaller time frames, like if you're on like the 4 hour, any little fake out moves or any of these, wicks around, you're not worried. You're just sitting back going, okay, I'm letting the market do what's going to do, just watching my key levels, my key zones, and watching market structure, how it's playing out. So you don't have to, stress about that thing, that sense of it. And so really pretty much, that's what I like about that kind of strategy too, because then you don't have to, worry about getting liquidated or have the stress of, oh man, I can't sleep right now, or I can't go to bed and let my trade sit overnight because I'm afraid I'm going to get taken out of the trade. I've had many times where I'm just sitting there staring at the screen, and it took me a while to learn that. So, but it's being able to go, okay, price is here, my liquidation price or my stop up price is like $3,000 away. That peace of mind is very nice to have. And ultimately, you also be more successful too, because then everybody who's over leveraging or they're, maxed out on their account, pretty much they'll get taken out. And then price, as soon as those people get taken out, it seems like it goes right back in the other direction, or you get a pullback or something else happens. So you kind of go, sweet, I was able to, survive any fake moves or stop outs or any crazy volatility moments, and I'm still good to continue my order, where it was. So having that peace of mind is super important, I think, in trading too. So real quick, I just want to go over where I think Bitcoin could be headed. I know last time I was on the call, or not call, but last time I was on Forex and Chill, I went over a couple things on the chart. And recently, the past couple days, as we see here, I'll go back to the daily, we've been having some fairly significant drops. I mean, to me, it's not too bad. It hasn't been too crazy for Bitcoin. But if you look right here, it's been the correction here. I know my last guy on the call on the Forex and Chill, we had this massive pump up here in price. Like I said, retraced back down, and I was looking for getting some reaction down here to see if we can potentially hold this level, like on the daily. As we see here, price has just now broken down to, I think it hit like almost 68,000. Sorry, 6,800. So that would be right now. We're kind of in an interesting spot. So we go here on the weekly. I want to show you guys this. I got some key zones here for the market. I want to pull up the fibs right here. Nothing's really changed from the last price action we got from right here. We had that big pump up at like 72, 7,300, and price right here went down to 6,800 and pretty much rejected off here. So now look again, the 61.8 Fibonacci retracement is so far holding this up. So I think it's kind of funny that how that key level right there has come back again. Price kind of just be a retest of that key level on the fibs, and we could see price work its way up from here. Now, of course, price can continue breaking back down, and it could probably maybe hit the 5,500 to 6,000 range. And that ultimately, I think, is going to be super strong resistance, because that's where a lot of the U.S. miners, that's when they become unprofitable for mining Bitcoin, which they sell on the market and cause a chain of events there. So I'm thinking that if this 61.8 continues to hold, especially here on the weekly, we get the weekly close on Sunday, I think now at 7 p.m. EST. So that will be interesting, because that is, again, right on the key level. So if anybody's looking to, I'm just dollar cost averaging in. Of course, this is not financial advice, but if you're looking to possibly, looking for a good price to get some Bitcoin, this could be a potential bounce or a reversal zone that we could get on Bitcoin, and we could potentially not see this price again. I know everyone says that. That's why I don't like to say that, but that's why it's only potentially. We could see, this as the lowest. 68 pretty much as the lowest price for, while it could break down, but if it does hold, especially on the weekly time frame, that would be very interesting to see. And if we come up here on the monthly, I want to show you guys here. The 21 EMA for Bitcoin, like I mentioned last time, is a super key EMA that Bitcoin likes to hold. So on the monthly, this is a very good indicator to see kind of if we're in like a bull market for Bitcoin. And as you see here, this is the run up on 2017 that we had. And as long as price was pretty much above there, it was still pretty much in a bull market. Once it dropped down here, then we kind of went into a bear market for a few months as far as EMA actually broke. And then shot up again. So right now we're literally testing a 21 EMA on the monthly. So, and right now we're at November 22nd. So the next, next week or so, we should see, how this monthly candle closes. So not only on the monthly are we in a key zone, but if we hop down the weekly, it kind of shows you that we are also in a key area here as well. So I know the weekly we're below the 21, but look again, we're at the 61.8 Fibonacci. So could we see this come down and potentially get down to one of these other key fibs and get down to 3,000 again? Possibly. Could this have been like a higher low, and we just see Bitcoin crash back down to, maybe even a little bit lower, maybe 2,200? It could be, or we could easily see, as we know in Forex trading, that this is our key level, and we could easily start getting the bounce from here. So that's just something I'm personally looking out for. Just watching price action. I'm not really trading anything right now. However, if I see this this price action hold here, then I'm definitely looking to potentially take a long run here in this area. So definitely some good key things to look out for. I don't want to spend too much time on that, but yeah, it's just something I wanted to point out to you guys, that it's just kind of funny how we are in that key level again here at the 61.8. So I'm thinking that, to me, I'm more on the bullish side of it. Of course, anything can happen. We easily break down a little bit more. We could see Bitcoin's previous fractal. They call this a fractal when price comes down here, kind of creates like this descending triangle type thing or type pattern, and then it can break down. They call it a fractal pattern. So we could have the same thing, of course, happen right here, where this level could break down and we could see price hit double bottom around 3K, and then we could go up from here. So not to be a little confusing there, but that's always a possibility. However, if we do hold this, that'll be a good time to definitely see how we can get some bullish price action off those key areas.
So Gabe, let me go ahead and jump in here as well too on that. So everybody wants to know, when is the Bitcoin price going to start skyrocketing again and really taking off into a new bull market? I'll tell you that Gabe, I think, is right when he says that now is a good time to buy. And again, not financial advice. I'm buying more right now. And this is referring to like taking possession of the actual digital asset. So going to an exchange and buying the Bitcoin asset and storing that safely offline. That's what is, that's what I'm doing. It's a great time to do it. Anytime between now and probably like 10K, $20,000 Bitcoin, in my opinion, is a good time to buy, because I do believe it is going to six figures and over time, possibly beyond that. So the question is, though, when is it going to take off and even be a greater opportunity to trade, not only buy as an investment long-term and hold? Well, I can tell you that historically, going through the market cycles of crypto back to the very beginning, so for Bitcoin back to 2009, 2010, you have these events called halvings or halvenings. Has anybody heard of that? I'm just curious, anybody in the chat out there, if you guys are aware of the Bitcoin halving and how that works from the technology standpoint of the blockchain?
I had never heard of it until your brother introduced the idea to us on the last ForexNChill.
Oh, did he? Cool. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Well, in that case, I won't go into it. I'll just tell you that when the halving happens, which should be around May of 2020, so maybe like 6 or 7 months from now, that's when the mining rewards are cut in half for all the Bitcoin miners all over the world. And whenever that happens, the price, it almost has to increase, because it has to be profitable for miners to continue mining. And so every single time we have this halving happen, very shortly thereafter, the Bitcoin price begins to pump. And so if I was going to really trade this super hard, and I'm definitely going to do my very long-term, super simple, can't fail strategy for sure. That's been going awesome. But for all of you out there as well too, who are a lot more serious, you get this stuff and know how to trade Forex a lot better, I'd be looking at entering a lot more trades at that halving period, at or around that. And it might take a few months to really kick off, but at some point after that halving, the price will go parabolic again. And I'm pretty darn sure of that. Again, not financial advice, but that's what I'm looking at. And so most of my trading, most of my new entries are going to happen towards that halving in May of this next year. So just want to go ahead and throw it out there. As far as buying the asset, again, buying Bitcoin, buying Ethereum and other cryptocurrencies, I'm doing that all throughout this period. To me, all this is an accumulation phase. So whether it's at 8,000, 7,000, if it drops to 3, I'll be accumulating all in there. And that's a simple strategy if you dollar cost average, right? Again, similar to what I just showed you is you put in, if you can afford to put in $100 a week, you do $100 a week. If you've got a lot more cash and you put in $1,000 a week or a month, you do that. That's cool. And regardless of where the price is at, it all averages out, right? So over the course of 7 months, 2 years, 4 years, you've been accumulating all these assets, a little bit here and there. And so your pricing is great sometimes, your pricing isn't so good sometimes, but it all averages out and becomes very, very, very good. And again, if you're holding these for long term, you can't go wrong. So Gabe, if you want to talk about anything else, feel free. We can also transition to the book whenever you're ready. So feel free to,
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm almost done. I'm just going to do a couple minutes on a couple things I want to mention too. So yeah, exactly. As you guys see here, market structure is key. So pretty much what we've been putting in right now is just a big giant flag, full flag right here. So if the super bearish scenario plays out, where Bitcoin goes down to here in these levels, imagine what kind of flag this thing we put it in. Like this giant thing is just pretty much a giant bull flag. So when people say, "Oh, I see Bitcoin going to $1 million," with this kind of consolidation, this kind of flag, I can easily see that happening. Now we can eventually get up there before then. Of course, it might take a while, but if Bitcoin, you're really just making a giant bull flag here, and that's also definitely more to me from a market structure standpoint, that's more believable that if this did drop down that low and then go from say like $1,000 to $1 million, and that makes more sense because all this consolidation led up to that much price action. So, that's more of an extreme case. But yeah, pretty much at the smaller area here, we're pretty much just putting in a bull flag. So for me personally, I'm sure Christian too, that I call this the institutional level of 12,000 because we see right here when Bitcoin ran up to 20K and it came down, it dropped below this 12,000 mark, hit that mark, and rejected, and then it led into a big bear market. So, and we saw what happened if your price went to 14K, sucked back below 12K, and then it tried again, boom, and then we had another bigger pullback drop. So to me, once 12K gets broken, especially like on a weekly time frame, if we get a weekly close above 12K, then I can go, okay, now I'm starting to look like this bull market is really starting to really kick off as far as being more confirmed. Like that means once we break out of this flag and get above this previous high here and kind of this big pattern here, now we're looking. And once we get above here and get close above here and then go, now I'm looking to really have a confirmed bull trend as far as you can look for your retest a lot easier. You don't have to worry about these crazy crashes because this level here is super key. This is a good signal saying that once we're above 12K, that pretty much, in my opinion, I mean, anything you can get above 12K is going to be really key once this bull market really gets taken off, once it really starts shooting up. So there's something I wanted to point out there, and then and then real quick, go over to ETH and Litecoin. I mean, these altcoins, they're pretty much, I mean, they can go a little lower, but they're pretty low. So it's like now I picked up picking up some more altcoins like ETH and Litecoin. It's one of my favorites. I'm a Bitcoin Maximilist, but investing to someone like the top 10 cryptos, I like ETH, I like Litecoin. That's pretty much some of the ones that I like to invest in. But most of my, again, it's not financial advice, but most of my portfolio is in Bitcoin. But to me, when Litecoin's below $50, I mean, I go, sweet. Litecoin's only at $47 right now. That's a super good buy. Not much. It can go down lower, but it's a pretty good buying opportunity. And then, one thing I want to cover. Oh, what did I do? Okay. One thing I want to cover as well is Litecoin. You see, Litecoin sometimes is a good indicator. It might make a move before Bitcoin does for the altcoins. That's kind of like a precursor to price action. We put Litecoin's weekly chart on the MACD. This is really interesting. Is not only are we oversold here, but if you look at the MACD here on the weekly, I'm thinking this is kind of showing how this bearish price action is starting to get kind of tired. And if these two EMAs right here on the MACD get close to crossing, that would be a super bullish signal to kind of show some more price action to finally get this bull market really started. So I'm just really looking for that weekly cross right there. Like I said, the EMAs are super close to each other. They can always cross to the downside more, but at the same time though, if this really is just a big giant pullback, that price has been doing on Bitcoin and these altcoins. I mean, we're at the 78.6 right now on Litecoin. So if all this action just really put a bigger pullback before price really starts to get bullish again, then that's kind of a good indicator I'm looking at. Okay, I think that was it. And Christian, you can take it away.
Cool, man. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here if you don't mind on this side. And then I want to also go ahead and just cover, because Grant was mentioning in the chat as well as a few others, that as regards to the halving, let me just cover that for a second. So for those of you who don't know what that is, let me actually just pull up a link here on Google as well too. If we go type in Bitcoin halving, let's see what comes up. Or Bitcoin halving, should be a few things show up here, articles. Yeah, so all kinds of predictions from different players. Basically, the Bitcoin halving is where you've got all these miners supporting the network. Now, if you don't know what Bitcoin mining is, I've actually got some awesome videos walking through to do all this stuff, like what Bitcoin mining is. Very, very simple explanations. But essentially, these miners support the network. These are people who are running hardware, and they are their hardware is essentially solving complex math problems and validating transactions all over the world on a global public ledger, essentially. Actually, Gabe, are you seeing my screen? Is it not showing up?
Yeah, I see your screen.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so that's what miners do, right? They support the network, the secured Bitcoin network on the blockchain. And so they're validating all the transactions coming through. They're solving mathematical problems, and miners receive rewards for validating these transactions in the form of Bitcoin. So basically, they are minting new Bitcoin whenever they are, running this hardware and validating these math problems and securing the network. And so every 4 years, you have what's called a halving, where the Bitcoin, as you know, only has 21 million that will ever be created. That's the max supply, and it's a fixed supply. There's no inflation. It's not like the US dollar or like other fiat currencies globally. It's a fixed supply. So just think about this for a second. People talk about how there's only 21 million Bitcoin. Yeah.
Go ahead and pull up the CoinMarketCap so that way they can see that when you're talking about it.
Okay.
Supplies.
Oh yeah, good call. Yeah, CoinMarketCap.com is a great resource for finding out, what cryptos are out there, what their prices are currently, what the volume is traded daily, circulating supply as well too, where it's at right now. So we have 18 million of 21 million Bitcoin minted currently. So this is a very useful resource. I use it pretty often. There's a few others that I actually like better as far as telling what the exact volume really is, because a lot of exchanges do what's called wash trading. And so they fake a lot of volume by just trading on their own exchange back and forth, in and out, buying and selling. But this gives you a good gist of what's there. It's the most well-known and well-used of these types of services. So coinmarketcap.com. But yeah, so 21 million Bitcoins, all there's ever going to be. And so every 4 years, the miners essentially have this halving happen where they receive less and less rewards for doing the securing of the network with this hardware. And so eventually there will come a point in time where the miners won't be receiving any new Bitcoin or minting any new Bitcoin for their work, because we'll get to 21 million and that'll be it. So what happens? Well, there's a lot of different, speculative theories around what will happen, but basically miners will be paid at that point for transactions happening on the Bitcoin network. So without getting too technical, again, the point is that every 4 years you have this happening where rather than receiving, a few years back, it was 50 Bitcoin the miners would receive as a reward for verifying these transactions and for every block that was minted on the blockchain. And so then it was cut in half to 25, then it went to 12.5, and now it's at 6.25 or whatever, right? So 6.25 Bitcoin, or maybe that's what it's going to be actually this next time around. I believe that's the case. I think we're at 12.5 right now. So the point is that that with less rewards going to the miners, the price of Bitcoin has to increase in order for it to be profitable for those miners to mine. Because right now, depending on where you live in the world, if you're a miner in China or in Russia or in the United States, where you are, what kind of electricity cost you have, it might cost you $7,000 to mine a single Bitcoin. Well, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of physical work in the real world going into mining this Bitcoin, which gives it a lot of value, to be honest, a lot of underlying value. People say, where's the value in this fluffy cryptocurrency, this internet vaporware? Well, if it costs you $7,000 in the real world to mine this coin, well, gee, that's a heck of a lot of value, I would think, right? The market's giving it that value. The market, the investors, the people that support it and believe in it. So that's what it takes to actually put forth that effort in the real world to make that happen, to mint one of those Bitcoins. Now, in some places, you can be profitable mining at $3,000 a Bitcoin. So that all kind of fluctuates and depends on the overall hash rate of the network and things like that, of the mining power across the world. But anyway, so the halving does happen. That's the key thing. No, halving happens. So, less rewards going to the miners. Therefore, the price has to increase for it to be profitable to mine. And so every single cycle, we've seen that increase happen. And typically, you have a massive increase. So Bitcoin doesn't just run or pump a little bit, 20%, 40%. Typically, over the period of maybe a year after the halving happens, you see a massive pump. And like what happened in 2015, from 2015 to 2017, we 100x'd. When I saw what was left of my Bitcoin 100x, I was like, holy cow, there's definitely something to this, right? This Bitcoin and crypto stuff. And so that's what got me back into it. And I want to tell you that for a lot of you, and I know this is the case even for me as well, I gave you my strategy for Forex, but I'll tell you what, a lot of us are gonna make a heck of a lot more money on our returns from actually buying and storing these cryptos directly than we are trading, even if we were dang good at trading. Because the multiples of return you can see on these is insane. If you think about Bitcoin, for example, it's got the interest of massive corporations now, institutions, banks all over the world, individuals all over the world. There's not enough Bitcoin to go around for everyone as far as owning a whole Bitcoin, right? So we talk about how there's, I don't know how many millionaires there are in the world. In fact, let's find out. I don't know if this is gonna be accurate or not, but how many millionaires in the world? I'm guessing there's probably tons and tons of millions and millions of millionaires. So that can't be right. I think it's 36 million millionaires. Okay, let's say there's 36 million millionaires in the world. I think it's a lot more than that, but let's just say it's that, okay? So there's 21 million Bitcoin, there's 36 million millionaires. This is a global asset. It's being invested and used by people all over the world. So if you're a millionaire and you can easily afford right now to go and buy a Bitcoin at $7,000, that's great. But the point is there will come a time when every single millionaire won't be able to have one Bitcoin. That's a powerful thing to think about for a second there, right? That's excluding the billionaires even, those guys too. So if this asset continues on the trajectory that's on right now, it's going to get to a point where, each Bitcoin could be, who knows what price as far as fiat. The sky's the limit. And so if you make a simple investment in Bitcoin, the actual Bitcoin asset, not rehypothecated assets on, through the stock market or through Forex or whatever, but actually buying the Bitcoin asset itself, there is going to be, I believe, a supply shock where the world realizes, holy cow, there really is only 21 million of these things. There's 1.6 trillion US dollars out there. And how much is a dollar worth? Well, $1, right? But just think about the numbers, the multiples of of fiat currencies out there in the world, how many trillions and trillions of fiat currencies there are out there as far as the dollar value, and then Bitcoin, the supply of that. So there'll be a supply shock. The world will eventually wake up to that when mass adoption begins to happen, and it will become far more than just a speculative bubble that occurs. And Bitcoin's been in many bubbles. So the bubble cycle for Bitcoin is not new. It's not a single bubble that creates, blows up and crashes and gone forever. Look at Amazon, right? Amazon crashed, ramp in the dot-com boom to whatever price point, crashed super hard, lost like 90% of its value, just like Bitcoin's been doing over the course of the last 10 years, right? It rises, it crashes, loses much of its value. Usually it crashes by about 85% on average. But you had this happen, and Amazon, same thing to them, right? And yet they still came back from losing 92% of their value to then going on and setting new highs and becoming one of the largest companies in the world, now doing like half of the country's retail business through Amazon, right? To that one single website. And their stock is at what? I don't know, like $1,200 or maybe even more than that. So, you could have bought it back for like $1, not too long ago, and done very, very well. So that's what's going to happen with Bitcoin, but on a whole new level. And
Christian,
yeah,
this question, which I think would be really good to cover, is someone, Bridget asks, what's going to happen when Libra is going to be released?
Oh, so, great question. Great question.
Go ahead and cover what you think is going to happen with that.
Yeah, definitely. So Facebook's Libra, well, first of all, we'll see if they can even make it happen. They've had so many issues with financial regulation. If actually, Mark Zuckerberg's been brought into Congress and sat down multiple times, and they want to find out all about what his plans are with this Libra currency. Now, the Libra currency, what they're planning on doing with this, Facebook, is rolling out what's called the stable coin. So it's not something that appreciates in value. It's pegged to like the US dollar, maybe pegged to a few other fiat currencies. And so essentially it maintains the value of $1. So that's pretty worthless if you want to see mad gains on your investments, right? If you're trying to invest in crypto and see that increase over time in value, Libra's not for you. I mean, what's interesting about this though is that if Facebook can get this approved and can get Congress to say, fine, you can go ahead and create a competing currency to the US dollar called the Libra, the stable coin, and you can use it in all of your assets. You can apply it to Facebook and your marketplace, and it can be a transactional method for all of your users on WhatsApp and every single platform you own. Now, what's that going to do for crypto adoption if they can succeed at that? It's going to explode crypto adoption. But here's what's going to happen. Everybody who uses Libra is going to say, wait a minute, I'm looking over here and all these people who invested in Bitcoin are seeing insane gains because it's rising to 100K. It's going beyond that. It's doing all these crazy things as far as the price point. Why am I not getting in on that? I've got this crypto over here called Libra, but it's doing nothing for me. So what's going to happen is it'll increase the adoption of Bitcoin, Ethereum, all these other cryptocurrencies that have the ability to appreciate in value and do so like no other asset we've ever seen on the planet. It's a completely new asset class that is still being tapped right now. And if you think about how many people are in the world, 7+ billion, and yet only 1% of the world or less owns any cryptocurrency whatsoever. And here's what I want to get into. It's very, very important. I don't digress too much here. I could talk about so many of these things for so long. I think that Libra, first of all, is going to be good for crypto if it succeeds. I think all stable coins are good for crypto because eventually everybody goes to, wait a minute, I want to make money on my investment or on my owning of crypto. Let's go put it in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all these other platforms. They're doing amazing things as far as price appreciation. So that's very, very key to know. But what's more important is that a lot of people have no idea that where they're holding their Bitcoin and their cryptocurrency is super unsafe. I mean, people who actually do go and buy their crypto on exchanges like Binance or like Coinbase or like any one of these out there. And if you click on the asset here, like Bitcoin, and you go over to market pairs, you'll find a full list of the exchanges that offer the asset. There's tons of exchanges out there. And every single day, these exchanges get hacked. They close their doors and just confiscate everybody's assets. They have all kinds of problems, right? People lose their shirt in crypto every single day because of making bad investments and, or more importantly, they don't store their crypto correctly. And so if you're holding your Bitcoin or your cryptocurrency on anything like your phone or on your computer, on a wallet on your computer, like a desktop wallet somewhere, then you're completely leaving your investment to be taken, hacked, stolen, whatever, just, done away with, right? And so my message, and the reason why I created the book, How to Buy and Store Bitcoin, very simple, very non-creative name, right? But it says exactly what it's about. And in this book, we lay out very simply in a beautiful format. We spent months and months on even just the illustrations alone for this to make it super simple and great, whether you are a millennial, a young person who hates reading. We don't actually have much text in here, so you're going to love that. And the text that is here is actually big. So if you get this in person, it looks amazing. It's like blown up text. It's super huge. Lots of pictures, lots of graphics. And we basically go through and say, look, you already know you want to get crypto. Here's how you do it safely and successfully and store it for the long term. So you can see those mad gains as we go through these various market cycles. And we help you sell it at some point as well too. So for example, if I scroll up here in the book, this is the PDF version, obviously. I think it's, where is it at? Probably down somewhere. I show you all the places I recommend. Yeah, here it is. That you can look into buying cryptocurrency. So somebody mentioned the Cash App. Cash App's a great place to buy Bitcoin. They only sell Bitcoin currently, but you can actually buy I hate to say physical, but the physical Bitcoin, even though it's digital, the actual Bitcoin asset. And at that point in time, once you buy it on Coinbase or crypto.com or Cash App or Gemini, you need to be able to store it successfully. And so this book goes through in details, well, what are the great places? Where do you actually store this asset successfully and safely? And I cover that here in chapter 4. And so we map out, well, there's 2 really simple assets I recommend using, simple products that are best for beginners. And there's 2 hardware wallets called the Trezor and the Ledger Nano S. These are very inexpensive, like $59 to $77. I actually buy multiple wallets. I use paper wallets. I use all kinds of different types of wallets that allow me to essentially hold what are called my private keys. And so every cryptocurrency out there, has these private and public keys, essentially, right? And your private keys are where your crypto is held. And so everybody who's holding their cryptocurrency on the exchange, on the Cash App, on Binance, wherever they bought it from, they're holding your private keys. So really, it's not your crypto, it's theirs. And so when they go down, there's no way for you to go back and say, hey, give me a redo. I lost my crypto because you guys went down, or whatever happens. You get hacked. There's no way to retrieve that because of how cryptocurrency works. One of the beautiful things about it, at least the decentralized cryptocurrencies, and that's what I want to support, is decentralized cryptos, not controlled by centralized entities like Facebook who can freeze your accounts and freeze your assets. I want to be my own bank. Well, if I own Bitcoin or I own Ethereum, which I also like a great deal, I'm actually stacking a lot of Ethereum right now. If I hold my public and private keys, right? My private keys for that crypto, then I am my own bank. Nobody can touch it. Nobody can take it from me. It is my money, my wealth. And I control it myself alone. It's very hard to come in and confiscate your wealth that way. I mean, you think about a bank account. I have bank accounts. You have bank accounts. If you're here in the United States or anywhere in the world, they work pretty much the same, right? The financial industry of the world is pretty much the same. Is that really your money that you have in that bank? Well, you'd like to think so. I mean, I certainly would, but it really isn't. How many times do you see people's money be frozen or whatever, right? Things happen in the country, the economic system, the country goes down, the financial system goes down, the bank decides to go rogue and just takes your money in certain countries, or even here in the US if you're using a pretty sketchy bank. There's all kinds of different things that can happen, but it's very, very similar here. It's similar with exchanges where you're buying these things from. So my point is, do not leave your crypto on exchanges. Get it off your exchanges. And the greatest thing about these 2 little devices here is you can transfer your crypto off the exchanges, put it on this device, and essentially, it's safe. Like, you're just good to go. And these 2 devices, between these 2, you can pretty much store all of the major assets that are legitimate or even semi-legitimate on these 2 devices. And so you can buy a lot of different types of cryptos, a lot of different types of coins, and store them on these guys. So I don't know how much more I want to go into all of that, but there's just a lot of beautiful information in this book. We go through and map out very simply with pictures how to do everything step by step. How do you set up your wallet once you get it, your physical hardware wallet? How do you transfer assets once you have the wallet set up? So all of that is in this book, and it couldn't be more simple. It really is fantastic. And what's also great is at the end of each chapter, so let me just scroll through the end of this chapter here. At the end of each chapter, we have a link to a video tutorial for those of you who want to watch videos versus reading in the book and following it step by step throughout the book, that walks you through every single one of these steps too. So let me just keep on going here. Oh, there it is. Okay, so every single one of the chapters has this right here. So you can watch a complete tutorial on how to move your Bitcoin. And we have that on our website, buyandstartbitcoin.com, which finally got finished. It's pretty simple, nothing too crazy, but those links lead you to the video section here on the website, which walks you through in a video format. How do you create your Coinbase account? Or how do you store your Bitcoin on your ledger? How do you sell your Bitcoin once the price goes to 100K and you're like, you know what? I got it at 7,000. I want to take some profits. Let's go ahead and sell some of this. How do you do that? I talk about decentralized exchanges. How can you actually, this is the coolest thing ever, and this is the future of crypto, being able to trade and invest in crypto, is decentralized exchanges. Exchanges that are essentially not run by any one company or entity. They are run on the blockchain. They're run on distributed technology where you can literally take your hardware device, like your ledger, go to the website, plug in your device, and you can trade or buy or store or whatever you want, any of these cryptocurrencies directly to your device via the website. The website has a link up. There's actually a great website called Switcheo out there. It's one of the switcheo.network. It's one of the first successful decentralized exchanges. And if you go to exchange over here at the top of the site, this is kind of cool how this works. But you plug in your ledger device, you go over here to connect wallet, and you can actually connect your wallet directly to the website and then begin trading directly on that. And so your assets, when you're done trading, are stored on your device, you unplug it and you're all set. But this is how you store your crypto successfully. This is how you hold it long-term without anybody else being able to have access to it but you. So nobody can steal it, nobody can hack it, nobody can take it from you, and you've got it forever. And then when you want to sell it, plug that sucker back in, go to an exchange, and you can sell it. So it's very, very, it's not complicated when you know how to do all this stuff. But when you're starting out, it's ridiculously confusing and complicated for a lot of people. And that's why I created this book, How to Buy and Start Bitcoin. And we cover not only Bitcoin, but many other assets too. So for example, let me go back up here to the top of the screen. Let's go to the table of contents. And Gabe, hopefully you're watching the chat for me. Let me know if any questions come in. But
yeah, just let me know when you're done with that. I can have some of those answered.
Cool. I apologize. I talk so fast sometimes and I get so passionate about this stuff. I just keep on going through it all. And I don't want to waste your guys' time and spend hours and hours covering all this stuff because there's so much here and I love it. And I want you all to have the very best chance of succeeding if you are investing in cryptocurrencies. So there's lots to cover. But anyway, I do cover in here price projections for Bitcoin. Where do we think it's going? Again, not financial advice, but where could it be going based on past numbers, based on all the fundamentals, based on even the chart analysis as well too. Where could the price of this be going? How about altcoins? We talk about what are altcoins. Basically, any coin that's not Bitcoin is called an altcoin. Bitcoin was the first, it's like the absolute king. Everything kind of follows Bitcoin. Now, I'm different than Gabe. I'm actually not a Bitcoin maximalist, although I understand why. Overall, Bitcoin does a heck of a lot better, at least it has historically, than all these other coins. There's a very short period of time where all the other currencies, all other cryptos out there do very, very well. They have extremely short windows during the peak of a bull market. In fact, most of these altcoins, I'll tell you guys, if you're thinking about buying these right now, I wouldn't be buying most of these personally, and I'm not, until the halving event happens for Bitcoin. Then I'll be looking to get into a lot more. And that's about when the Bitcoin price will hopefully be moving up beyond $20,000. To me, that's the safest time to be getting into altcoins because altcoins have much more room to run than Bitcoins. Look at this, for example. The Bitcoin market cap is $131 billion, according to this site right here. The Ethereum market cap is $16.5 billion. So this is how you calculate potential returns on investment for cryptocurrencies if you're buying the actual asset, right? As you look at like Litecoin, also a great coin as well too, that I also own, and I know Gabe does too, $3 billion. Imagine the entire world starts coming online and buying cryptos, much more than we've seen before. In 2017, it was like, I don't know, like 20,000 people or something, or like 100,000 people that were buying enough crypto to push the price up that much. It's a pretty absurd number in terms of the tiny fraction of people in the world that are buying Bitcoin and pushing it to 20K. So imagine when the world begins coming online at a greater level and buying these currencies, where their prices can go. And so if you look at the market cap, if you see low market caps out there, like for example, we all talk about the gold market cap, which let me just double check on what exactly that is. Gold market cap. That is pretty massive. So 160 billion, no, $8 trillion. I'm sorry. That's right. 8 trillion. Okay. It makes a lot more sense. So $8 trillion is the market cap of gold. Everybody who's been talking about, and I actually do own gold and silver as well too. Just another form of investment to be kind of diversifying your assets. But everybody was saying forever that, oh man, gold's going to go to crazy prices. And I think if the currencies of the world hyperinflate, yeah, you'll see those prices obviously skyrocket because that's where it's at. But with an $8 trillion market cap, how much room does that have to grow in order for you to make a pretty significant gain? So gold's at what, like $1,600 right now? Maybe it's 15. I don't know where it is exactly. But the point is, this market cap, but to double the 16 trillion, just for you to double your investment. I mean, that's crazy, right? So market cap is very important. It's very hard to see those numbers in other markets. But with crypto, we're still pretty early. There's still this massive frontier there's people all around the world now that know about crypto, but very few are investing in it because they don't know how to do it. And that's, again, why I created this book, to help them simply understand, here's how to get into it. Here's where to buy it safely, how to store it safely, how to do all these different things. And we give different recommendations as to what kind of altcoins we're getting into and things like that. But talking about the altcoins again for a second here, the market cap of Litecoin has the opportunity to, multiply by many, many times over to get even close to a fraction of what the gold market cap is of $18 trillion. So imagine it's a Litecoin market cap, that could easily 10x, 20x, probably 30x, maybe even more than that in the future, right? And that's one of the top 6 cryptos out there. Now imagine if you had found very early on one of the cryptocurrencies that has a super tiny market cap that's buried somewhere down like the number 200 or 400 on the chart somewhere, but it's something that's going to be a very, very successful project in the future. And I want to tell you guys as well too, that not all cryptos are meant to be just currencies. A lot of these are building the new internet. They're building new decentralized finance beyond just being used as itself for a currency, right? So think about this as coming online as a new stock market almost, one that's completely untapped, one that most of the world right now is so afraid to get into, they're not touching it, okay? And if you find some of these projects that actually become successful, that become the future Amazons, the future Googles of the new generation, boy, the returns on the investment will be absolutely massive. I think we'll see a lot of these projects that are successful, and very few will be. It's important to mention that very few will be. I've seen now from the last 2 market cycles, many, many projects that people thought were going to succeed, absolutely crash and burn, and people lost a lot of money. But if you can find the right ones to invest in, you'll see 1,000x returns, 2,000x returns on some of the best projects, which is, just absolutely amazing, absolutely incredible. So I'm not a maximalist. I love Bitcoin because it's the safest to be in. It's the most well marketed. Everybody knows it. Like, it's the best thing to be in. So the majority of my investment personally is in Bitcoin. It's the safest move, but it has the largest market cap. Its ability to multiply, to 1,000x is probably gone at this point. I mean, yeah, it's possible. Anything's possible. There's only 21 million in this whole supply when it's all said and done. So it can do crazy numbers in the future, but it's not as likely. And so being realistic, in my view, and yet also being a safe investor, I want to look at, well, can I find maybe other projects that I really believe from intense research have the ability and the right fundamentals to create what they're trying to create and to get the adoption they're trying to get and to do very, very well and see that price point skyrocket and become a real, a top dog in the future. And so I'll just tell you, for example, my portfolio, which I actually do map out in the book as well too, how to create a portfolio, make it successful, keep it safe, and yet be able to cash in on the massive returns that are coming from cryptocurrency, in my opinion. We also talk about too, in the book, top 5 altcoin picks, as you can see here. Let me increase the size of this here for a second. 150. That I believe will do at least 500x in the future. Now, I could be totally wrong. Every single one of these 5 could crash and burn. Every single one of the ones I have in my portfolio, we map out here for you, could crash and burn. None of that is a guarantee. But the point is that I've gone through and spent a lot of time and effort the last few years really studying and looking into these projects and finding out what has the potential to do very well. And so as far as investments go, I think it's very safe to hold the majority of your investment portfolio for cryptos and Bitcoin, and then to put a fair amount to Ethereum. I'm actually not accumulating a whole lot more Bitcoin right now. I'm buying a lot more Ethereum just because I believe that it has a long way to go. On the price chart, if you look at a lot of these, so a lot of the ones that got absolutely thrashed after 2017, and the market crash, let me just go to ETH/USD. A lot of these altcoins are still down. In fact, a lot of these altcoins are still in a bear market. They haven't even gotten out of the bear market yet. And that won't happen until Bitcoin really gets above like $20,000 where it peaked previously. When that happens, a lot of these altcoins will rise. And you'll have, again, a very short window of time when Bitcoin begins to peak after this next bull run. Let's say Bitcoin peaks at $100,000. It might even be 500,000. Who knows? But let's say it peaks at that point in time. These altcoins are going to outrun Bitcoin because their market caps are a lot smaller. People are going to say, hey, I can't afford, $80,000 Bitcoin, but I can afford $47 Litecoin or whatever it is, $500 at that point. Maybe it's going to be, maybe EOS will be, $25, $50. I can afford that. I can't afford $80,000 Bitcoin. So a lot of money is going to pour into these altcoins when Bitcoin is peaking in its bull run. Bitcoin's going parabolic, and you see, let me go back to the chart here. When you see these kind of movements here, these massive green candles that are ridiculously overshooting, that's when the altcoins are going to be really at their peak, and you're going to see them 500xing and doing crazy numbers. And at that point in time, you want to actually be looking to get out. That's what I'll be doing, is I'll be looking to get out of a lot of those altcoins and even selling some Bitcoin. I want to sell some Bitcoin at the top. I'm going to hold some for very, very long term. I'm willing to hold it for a decade plus. A lot of people aren't, but the billionaires out there, the real investors that know how to turn, money into long-term wealth, they look at least 10 years out in investments, not what can I do this year, what can I do this next month, what can I do this week and this day, and so on. And so that's very, very key. But again, when you see these parabolic rises happen, the altcoins are going to bring significant returns beyond Bitcoin. Bitcoin might give you a 20x. Some of these altcoins will give you, like I said, 500x, 100x, 20x, depending on what you're getting into and what happens with those and which ones succeed. But when Bitcoin begins to peak, I'll be selling a lot of my cryptos, a lot of my altcoins especially, either selling into Bitcoin or just selling for fiat and taking profits on that. So keep that in mind. But I wanted to share something with you in regards to Ethereum here. Ethereum is the second largest market cap, even though it's trailing behind Bitcoin right now. But it has a long, long way to go. The current circulating supply is 108 million, which is a heck of a lot better than things like XRP, where there's 43 billion currently, and they're going to keep on printing that all the way up to 100 billion. And they can keep on printing as much as they want because there's actually inflation on XRP, where they can basically just do whatever they want with it as far as inflation goes over time. I actually do own some XRP, but I'm not heavily invested in that one. And it is more centralized than some of the other cryptocurrencies out there, which I do not want to support, because I do not want the ability for these enterprises to come in and say, we don't like you, therefore you cannot have your account with us any longer. We're going to take your crypto from you. You can't do that with Ethereum or Bitcoin or Litecoin or a lot of these other cryptos out there. And so I support those pretty heavily. But getting back to the chart here, so Ethereum has the most development on it as a platform than virtually anything else out there. And Ethereum is not meant to be used as just a cryptocurrency. It's what's called a smart contract platform. And so you could say the new internet actually is being built on Ethereum, the new decentralized internet. And so there's all these, especially in finance, there's all these decentralized finance projects coming online being built on Ethereum, where you don't have to go to a bank to even get loans anymore. You can actually go to a smart contract platform. I hope this is not too confusing. And you can put in for a loan without having to give them your credit score or any of that. None of that even matters to them. There's actually a great project out there called Celsius Network, which I do own their token. Let's see, Celsius .network. And they allow you to come in here, and right now you can get a loan. In fact, they've actually given out $4 billion in loans already, mainly to pretty big players, but this is pretty cool what you could do with this. You could literally right now go ahead and submit for a loan of whatever amount you want. You can put up crypto you already own as collateral. And so if you put up, I don't know, $10,000 crypto as collateral. It could be Bitcoin, it could be Celsius token, it could be anything else you want to do. They accept quite a few crypto assets, but you put up that collateral, and then they'll give you a loan back in USD, in fiat, to go use for whatever you want to use it for. And you don't have to do anything as far as, let me give you all my whole history of my life. Let me give you my utility statements and all of this stuff, all this extra stuff all these banks require you to do, giving away your whole life to them to verify and run and maybe give you a loan. So it's very, very cool. And there's a lot of projects actually even beyond Celsius Network that are even more decentralized, where you can put in these applications, you can get a loan. And I don't even call it an application, because it really isn't an application. It's much less than that as far as what you're giving them. But this is the future of finance. And so that's what's being built, a lot of this on top of Ethereum, and even Celsius actually is as well too. And so Ethereum having the most adoption from developers, people building games on here, and like all these things for the new internet, all these apps, the new YouTubes, the new Facebooks, the new whatever it is, social networking is being built on platforms like Ethereum. So I really believe that the potential for this to last for a long time is there. Therefore, being at $151, I think that's a good investment. And if you look at the chart again, look at where it's at. It's still down. It's still down. What is that like? Let me grab the pricing meter again here. Like 82% maybe. I'm sorry, almost 90% as of right now. And so at the very least, I can see this price going back to where it was, right? So almost $1,500. Well, that's a great investment right there. But I think Ethereum will actually do a lot better than that. I think Ethereum, when Bitcoin begins taking off and really going parabolic again, I think Ethereum will easily be able to, get to maybe $10,000 if Bitcoin gets to 6 figures. So that's a significant return on investment if you're putting in, buy orders right now at 150. And again, storing it safely, storing it offline, not on exchanges, having possession of it yourself. So I highly recommend the book. You can get it right now through whatever Grant's doing with the giveaway. Check out the website for that, guys. I think it's going to be awesome. And this book, I'd love to get feedback on it. I finally got it listed on Amazon. And so you can find it on there if you're not one of the lucky winners for the giveaway. But I really believe this book is unlike anything else out there. I think it's going to help a lot of people, help the masses figure out how to get into this space safely, successfully, and to do it right, and to not lose their shirt in the process, and to be able to reap the massive rewards that are coming from this space. And so I hope you check it out. If you do buy it on Amazon, if you happen to go check it out on Amazon and get it there, definitely leave a review. We're actually selling it right now for like $20. We're not selling it for even at profit currently, because I'm trying to get some reviews built up and get it out there. And really, I'm doing this more so than anything to help people, not because I need to go out there and make money by selling and creating this book. That's not my purpose in doing so, but my true belief that from the investments that we're making in this space correctly, the right kind of investments, that it will drastically change our lives and the lives of every single person that comes into our sphere of influence, our families, our friends, our communities, our countries, whatever it might be, right? But we can really drastically help the world by the wealth shift that's coming. A lot of the shift from the all the fiat world is going to be coming into crypto, and when that happens, a lot of the ones that succeed will do absolutely amazing things. So, Gabe, do you have any questions out there on the chat box we should go ahead and cover?
Yeah. So Stephanie Hall, she was wondering. She goes, so if the value of your Bitcoin, say like you had, like a Bitcoin, or you had, like an Ethereum or Litecoin, as the value goes down as far as in the fiat value, does that mean that your coin diminishes as that goes down and then you end up with nothing?
Great question. So no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. So you could have a chart that looks absolutely terrible at some point. Maybe you bought Bitcoin. Actually, a lot of people bought Bitcoin and Ethereum at the top, and they're buying it at $1,400 for Ethereum. They're buying $20,000 Bitcoin. People are mortgaging their homes at these levels who didn't know enough about it and who are going all in. And then guess who the ones to sell when things began going south? It was those same people. And so you never want to do that. It's interesting. I work with a lot of new people. I believe in this so much that one of the reasons why I actually created this book was just to give away to friends and family and just say, here, look, it's all here. I don't have enough time to spend even with all my people in my own network, personally on the phone, walking them through step by step how to do all this stuff. And so I put it all in this book, and now I just give it to them. My mom has a copy of this book. I'm like, hey, here's the book now. You could definitely take it and go from there and do your own thing without having to rely on me 24/7 for all this stuff. And I love my family. I love my friends. I love people so much in general that I want them to succeed and be able to do this and do it right. And so that's where we have this here. But in regards to the question of the price going down, so let me just talk about this for a second here. Crypto is a game of, again, patience and discipline, like anything really. So if you bought at the high, the amazing thing about crypto, and I'm referring to mainly Bitcoin, not so much anything else. For the altcoins, a lot of them get thrashed and they just die and they go away. I mean, there's, how many tokens are there now currently? There's 4,849 listed cryptocurrencies just on CoinMarketCap. I'm sure there's even thousands more beyond that. But I've seen so many of these projects come and go and just forever be gone. And so talking about Bitcoin specifically, or Ethereum, which I believe will be around for a long time too, if you bought at the top, but you're willing to wait long enough, you still have the same amount of coins in your wallet. So if you bought 3 Ethereum, let's say at 1,400, and now it's down here, you still have your same 3 Ethereum. And hopefully it's sitting on a secure hardware wallet or offline device, not somewhere online on an exchange, not on your phone, not on your computer, but somewhere safe that you own the private keys to. Nobody else can see them or has access to them. And from there, to me, it's like almost a matter of time in every case, right? Every case where you've got a crypto like Bitcoin, maybe Ethereum as well too, where you can just wait it out, and that sucker at some point is going to go through and put in new highs and go much, much higher than it did previously. In fact, if you go through and look at Bitcoin, let me just show you this. This is pretty cool. Let me show you the BLX chart. BLX chart goes back and shows like the whole history of Bitcoin. I think even back to like 2010, does it? Let's see here. Let me move that out of the way. Yeah, I think that's 2010 there. Yep. So the BLX chart's pretty awesome because it shows you what Bitcoin has done. And this is the case for most of crypto, right? Whereas if you bought in up here in, what is that? August 2011 for $30, you're like, oh my gosh, I got hosed because it crashed after that down to $2. You're like, oh my gosh, my life is over. That's it, right? But if you just waited long enough, you'd see that months later, what did it do? Well, it put in new highs again, all the way up to $270. And a lot of people bought that top. But again, those who are patient, those who waited, look what happened. Boom. Goes from 270 to 1,200. Again, same thing there. You just keep on waiting. Bam, up to $20,000. And so the same thing will happen here, I believe very truly. So it's regardless of where you get in, you'll be able to just hold it long enough and see those returns happen. So hopefully that answers that question. Anything else on that side, Gabe?
Yeah,
Gabe,
go over the two devices real quick, like the Ledger Nano S and then the Trezor. Yeah, it was the two.
Correct. Yeah.
For now.
Yeah, the Ledger and the Trezor. And so, and just a tip as well too that I'm not sure I put in the book. I might regarding the Ledger and the Trezor. Where are those guys? That's for setting it up. Yeah, I think it's up here somewhere. Okay. I recommend these two. There's a lot more wallets out there, but these are pretty inexpensive. The Trezor was actually the very first hardware device to be created. And it's created by people who are like massive, massive Bitcoin fans who got in super early, wanted to create a secure device for people to buy and store their crypto. So I actually own several of both of these. And I also own several of other devices that are a lot more complicated to set up and work with than these guys right here. But I'm a big believer in once you get to a certain point, especially in your portfolio, not having all of your wealth, your cryptos on one single wallet. Now, the cool thing about this is because of how blockchain works and because of how these devices work, somebody can literally steal your device, like come into your home and steal your device, kind of like stealing your actual wallet, right? Except for they still can't access your funds unless they know your PIN code to the device, and then they could. But even in that case, if you know the device was stolen from you, if somebody came to my house right now and took my devices, assuming I actually store them at my house, if they did that, I would be able to immediately go and extract all my crypto off those devices remotely on the blockchain. Because the reality is the crypto is not actually being stored on these devices. I say that in the book because it's just beginner friendly that way. it's actually being stored on the blockchain. But these devices interface with the blockchain. They interface with the underlying technology that runs these cryptocurrency networks. And so you can steal the device from me, and I can take my private key phrase, my backup phrase, which you'll get when you get this device. It'll come with it, and it'll give it to you, and you can write it down or memorize it and keep it in a safe place. I'd be able to take that secret key phrase, access my private keys, and take all of my crypto off the device remotely. And that attacker, that hacker, that person who stole it, whoever it was, the thief, would have zero access to my crypto. If they were able to get into it somehow later on, like, weeks or months later, and access the wallet, they'd find nothing on it, because I would have pulled off all my crypto remotely through the blockchain using my private keys. That's why holding your private keys is so important. And that's why using devices like this are just so beneficial. So the security on this is just second to none. Unlike a credit card or actual money in your wallet, where somebody can break into your home, take your wallet, and they've got your identity, they've got everything about you. They can go, run up your bank accounts, all kinds of stuff. So definitely awesome stuff. And the book walks you through how to use all these, how to set it all up and make it all work. And what we also do, we're actually trying this out right now. We haven't really done much with this yet, but we're actually planning on offering extra consulting and coaching for anybody that wants to get help even further beyond all this stuff, or more advice on what to do in this market, because it is a crazy market. I've seen a lot of people lose fortunes, but if you know what to do and you do it right and you're careful, you can do very, very well in the crypto market. All right. Anything else, Gabe?
Yeah, when they go to our website, buyandstorebitcoin.com, I think you need to turn on the contact page for the email and all that, because I think it's on. You have
is it locked?
The book, yeah.
Oh, it might be. I'm sorry. Actually, I need to go back in there and unlock all of that. Yeah, it's still in its very, very infant stages right now as far as the website goes. So yeah, bear with me on that, but I will definitely go ahead and unlock the contact form
hey guys,
after this call.
Go ahead and join our Telegram group. I just posted a link in there. I know Grant has been awesome enough to have been posting in there a couple times in the Zoom chat. Buyandstorebitcoin.com is the Telegram link in there, and we're going to be posting some awesome updates in there on the book and any questions you guys might have. And that's another thing we want to cover too before we get off here tonight. What do you guys want to learn more about cryptos? Kind of, you guys want to learn more about Bitcoin or whatever, you guys can definitely join the chat. We can keep you guys updated on things we're doing, and different things we're talking about, and different different news of what might be going on in the market. So definitely let us know there and check that out.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And just to add to that, anybody who goes to the Telegram group, I'm not really big on monitoring all that stuff 24/7, just because I've got so much going on in my actual life and business currently. But I want to help people so much, so that if you guys do go into the Telegram group and you just post your questions, I'm not going to proactively go in there and post a lot of content usually, just because of how slammed I am with stuff. But if you guys will ask your questions, I will always take time to come back in there and thoroughly answer whatever you're asking. So yeah, check out the Telegram group. We'll definitely keep that going and get your guys' questions answered. You can literally throw out pretty much anything to us. I've gone through so many different things in this space, so many different cryptocurrency technologies and projects. And I've done a lot of consulting as well too, for blockchain projects, cryptocurrency projects, even for a cryptocurrency show. There's actually a show out there, and I got to tell you guys, this is pretty cool. Check this out. But if you have kids and family, do not watch this with them. It's definitely not family friendly. But I was the chief marketing consultant on Bitcoin and Friends, which is an animated TV show. It's very much like Adult Swim kind of style, so definitely not family friendly. It's actually not a show that, I would recommend having any of my kids watch, or, people that, young adolescents and whatnot. But definitely it goes through, and you can get the episodes all on YouTube here for free. The first 3 just came out in the last few months. But it really maps out the story of Bitcoin very, very well. And it has a lot of factual information built into it, how it came to be, how it kind of works. It explains it in a very funny, very humorous manner. And anyway, so it's kind of like telling Bitcoin's story as Bitcoin, a animated, brought to life character, as he's trying to figure out who he is and where he came from and who created him, and what's this world all about. And anyway, so it's very, very well done. The guys that created it are awesome individuals. I really supported this project and came on board to help them market this because of of them, like who they are personally, more so than the show or the content of the show. They're really amazing people, and they're actually self-funding this project right now currently, but they actually live in Los Angeles, California, and they do a lot of film work for Hollywood and whatnot, and they're very, very good. And so they're actually pitching, funny enough, Adult Swim right now on trying to get this on network television. How big would that be for crypto? It'd be huge. So, and they're really educating people the right way as well, as far as cryptocurrencies giving individual people freedom and control over their own money, their own future, their own wealth. And that is just so huge for me. It's definitely top of my list, is being able to promote that message. So check that out as well. But otherwise, I think I'm pretty much all set, Gabe. There's more questions, let me know, but definitely check out the Telegram group and hit us up there. And if you guys want to cover anything else, I'm open.
Yeah, Grant, Gigi, I think I got all the questions. I'm not sure if there's anything else you guys want to ask or have us go over again.
No, I just want to make sure everybody gets signed up for the book giveaway. Grant has dropped the link. These guys so graciously sent me a couple of copies, and if you guys register, we'll be doing a drawing, and I'll be mailing the books out. So make sure you register, like and subscribe to their YouTube channel, to their Telegram. Make sure you're connected with these guys, and please buy the books. If you have any crypto enthusiasts in your family, in your friends, in your circle, this book would definitely make a great gift.
Absolutely. Christmas is coming up. It would be amazing for that. I agree. And thank you so much again, Gigi. I really appreciate you having us on.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, you know, Forex and Chill is mostly about Forex, but Forex is for investing and creating wealth. And I know a lot of people in our circle love cryptocurrencies. And I think this is just another avenue that we can explore to bring even more money and more wealth into our portfolios.
Absolutely. Yes, definitely.
Most definitely.
Grant, I'll turn it over to you. Oh, they're asking for your YouTube channel again?
Oh, so the Bitcoin and Friends YouTube channel, which is actually not mine personally, I just do a lot of consulting with them, is, let me go find the link here. If you just go to YouTube and type in Bitcoin and Friends, you can't miss it. Let's see. But I will drop in the chat as well too for you. Again, this show is not family friendly, so I want to just reiterate that. Keep that in mind, but it is pretty cool and worth watching, I think. Let's see, where's the chat here? Let me stop the screen share for a second. Okay, cool. Grant got that. Awesome. Sweet. Okay, yeah, there it is. So check that out for sure. And like I said, the Telegram chat's always open, guys.
See a lot of people saying they really enjoyed tonight. So thank you from me, and you're welcome to the people that are saying thanks. You know, we love bringing you guys the best content we can. And again, next week is Thanksgiving. We want you to enjoy your families and your friends. So we won't be hanging out next weekend, but we're always open to suggestions for what you guys would like to see in the future. We wish these two brothers the best of luck and the best of success in their career. So y'all, let's shout them out some love on the way out.
Thank you, Gabe and Christian. That was awesome.
You bet. Thanks again.
Christian. Thank you.
Thanks, Gabe and Christian.
Appreciate the education.
And enlightening.